Hi everyone, welcome back. This is video number 2 on understanding the fiberglass and why it's important to know what you're looking at so that you can get the boat or RV ready for Poli Glow. I'm Lenny.
I'm Carmine.
And we're the owners of Poli Glow.
Yeah. So Lenny, I get this question a lot from our clients is, what do I need to do to prepare the fiberglass? Is it multiple steps? Talk me through that.
I will.
All right,
so
great.
There's a 2-step process with using Poli Glow. Step number 1 is cleaning and preparing the fiberglass.
Okay.
If you don't clean and prepare the fiberglass properly, you can't put Poli Glow on. So step 2 is applying Poli Glow.
What do I use to clean the fiberglass with?
Well, so before we get to that, let's talk about why you need to clean and prepare it, right?
Yep.
So let's educate our family on why they need to prepare the fiberglass.
Okay.
So, like I said before, fiberglass has a gel coat on it. That gel coat oxidizes over time. The sun and the UV rays will hit the gel coat, break it down chemically, and you'll get like a white, ashy material on the surface.
Yeah.
The colors, if you have a color on your RV or your boat, that can actually fade out. I've seen oxidized boats that were so bad you could barely see any of the color in it, and that's because it has that white ash all over it.
Is the color still there?
It is still there, it's just underneath.
Okay.
Right? It's deep to that oxidized layer.
So I haven't lost the color in my boat or
Not
RV?
necessarily.
Okay.
Right? And it can actually look a little bit mottled. And in darker colored boats and RV, they will absorb the sun's rays more deeply and more intensely, so you'll get deeper and heavier oxidation. Right? If you just have a white boat or RV, it's not going to oxidize quite as badly. Right? So the colors will make the oxidation happen more quickly.
Okay.
And more deeply.
What do I do about stains?
Great question. So fiberglass, when it oxidizes, it becomes porous because you're losing some of that surface layer, right? So stains can get in there. You know, you're driving down the road in your RV or you're in your boat in the waterways. You pick up all kinds of stuff from the street, all kinds of stuff from the waterways that can stain the fiberglass. Because it's porous, you can actually get cracks in the fiberglass. It can actually delaminate, which is a huge problem. So you really got to be careful. But stains are a problem. A lot of the rubber seals around the windows and doors can actually cause black streaks on the fiberglass. So it's a really important problem. You got to be able to pick up on all that when you look at your RV and when you look at the boat when you're about to get it ready. Hey guys, I just wanted to point out a couple more things to you here. If you look at, here's some more decals and some stickers that are faded. We got some rubber pieces here that are faded and oxidized. They have mold and some other things on it. Polyox will take this right off, get some of this cleaned up, make it look like new, and then you can Poli Glow right over top of that. We're going to show you that as well.
Before I apply Poli Glow, do I need to be concerned about my vinyl graphics?
Great question. So vinyl graphics can also oxidize, right? If you're looking at an RV, you're looking at a boat, and all of a sudden you realize like the color's a little bit different in the graphic, it's because it also got oxidized. Sometimes the graphics crack. If you have cracked graphics, they're oxidized. Like that's basically a sign that oxidation is set in. So the nice thing about our products is they won't harm any of that.
Will they bring back color and shine to my graphics?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Right?
That's awesome.
You can scrub out some of that oxidation and bring back the color.
So another question we get often is, what if I have something else on it prior to Poli Glow, like a wax or a compound or something else that I've put on my boat or RV?
Yep.
Do I need to get it off before I Poli Glow it?
Yeah, I mean, people have tried all kinds of things on their boat or RV to bring back the shine, right? So they've used waxes and ceramics and other things, and a lot of times they'll use compounds on the surface of the fiberglass. All of these products have a tendency to repel water. Compounds have oils in them sometimes that will repel water. You have to get those products off. Otherwise, Poli Glow won't adhere, it won't stick and penetrate into the fiberglass. And thankfully, we have products to remove all of that as well. So preparing the surface and getting off the oxidation, getting the stains out, getting all those black streaks and rust spots out of there, and removing the waxes and polishes that people have put on before are really important. Otherwise, when you apply Poli Glow, it's going to bring those colors out. If you don't get rid of the staining, it's going to make it pop more. If you don't get rid of some of those waxes and some of those other things, it'll actually discolor the Poli Glow. People call and say, well, I have a yellow discoloration in my Poli Glow. What happened? A lot of times it's because they're not preparing the surface properly and getting all of that off of there. It's a really important step.
So, Lenny, we get questions all the time. Can fiberglass be different? Is my boat and my RV, are there different types of fiberglass, and do I need to treat them differently prior to or when I put Poli Glow on?
Yeah, really important concept here, okay? So, for the most part, all of these structures are made in a very similar way, but the point that really needs to be driven home is the level of oxidation, right? So if you have a brand new boat or RV and a couple years go by and you're starting to notice that it's getting a little faded, and let's say it's a really light colored boat or RV, it's not gonna be heavily oxidized. But if you've owned this boat for 10 years, have never done anything with it, and it's dark colored, you may have no color in it anymore, and you might have a really thick oxidized layer on there. That's really heavy oxidation. That fiberglass is gonna be porous, that gel coat's probably gone, and now, you know, that's important because it's going to be a very porous fiberglass. So when you put Poli Glow on it, it's going to soak that Poli Glow right into the fiberglass. And the point to drive home here is, you know, we generally recommend 4 to 6 coats, right? If you have a lightly oxidized fiberglass surface, maybe 4 to 6 coats is going to do it. But sometimes you need more, especially when the fiberglass is heavily oxidized. If it's heavily oxidized, you're looking at more coats because the first coat or two might soak right into the fiberglass. You might not even see it. It'll still look dull. It might even look a little streaky. The more coats you put on, you'll see that gloss just pop right out. It'll cover all those streaks. Everything will blend in very nicely, but you might need 8 coats instead of 6, 10 coats instead of 6.
So let me ask you this. Other than pride of ownership, wanting my beauty, my boat or my RV to look great, what if I don't care? Why not just leave the fiberglass oxidized and dull?
Yeah, and you can choose to do that. I mean, if you want it to look dull and tired and old, you can do that, but there are going to be consequences potentially, right?
Okay.
That porous fiberglass, it's going to absorb water. Okay, you're going to get deeper staining. It's going to absorb anything that you pick up from the roadways or from the waterways, and you're going to get deeper staining. They're going to be harder to remove down the road, and you know you can easily get cracks in the fiberglass, right? And one of the worst things that can happen is delamination. If you get delamination of the fiberglass from the deeper layers, especially in RVs, it's going to look like a bubble on the outside surface. That's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars to fix. I mean, these are expensive problems to have.
So Poli Glow is more important than just looks.
Absolutely, right? And that's one of the videos we're going to talk about later.
Oh, awesome.
Sealing and protecting your fiberglass.
Awesome.
Okay, so pride of ownership, maintain your value, seal and protect your fiberglass.